shots.
Mr. Guscott, keep the children down. The sheriff's men are firing, and I think they're using blanks to scare the miners. Oh, look! They're shooting at miners running this way, and they've hit the school. And those poor men are dropped to the ground out there. Those bullets are no blanks. The siding is splintering. Children, lie still on the floor. Mercy's sake. That was actual sound from a radio drama created to remember the Lattimer Massacre, which occurred back on September 10th of 1897. It is also the brainchild, the project of Mr. Bill Bachman. Mr. Bill Bachman, who I know from years past at WNEP TV fame, also an assistant teaching professor at my alma mater, Penn State University, at the Wilkes-Barre campus. It is an honor to have you here in the studio. This is a project that is dear to your heart.
Yes, it is, and it's certainly a privilege and an honor for me to be here. Yeah, Lattimer was one of those things that as I would have students come into a new class in the fall, and maybe that's appropriate, the timing is just excellent for this, I would ask people, where is Lattimer and what's significant about Lattimer? And inevitably the answer would come back zero. And that really bothered me because I'm so afraid that our regional and local history, not just in the Hazleton area or the Wilkes-Barre or the Scranton or the Allentown area, but unilaterally all over this country, local history is disappearing at frightful speed.
That is so true. And this is wonderful that you are keeping this alive and teaching everyone of all ages.
Well, the real interesting part of this was there were basically two ways you could do it. If you had a budget, you could go out and hire the 400 people that you needed to do it, okay? If you didn't have a budget, you used the old philosophy of what radio was, and it's the way I teach it, back in the golden age of radio between 1925 and 1950. Radio is known as the period of theater of the mind, because through excellent script writers, etc., those people who really knew how to punch up words on paper, and create images for people's minds. You could sit in a completely dark room and listen to the Lux radio theater on the air, etc., and the Maxwell House shows, etc. You could close your eyes and you painted the scenery, and that's what we did with this old-time radio show of what happened at Lattimer on the 10th of September, 1897.
Now that will be featured again during this year's Remembrance. It's 120 years, and this, I guess, many refer to as a turning point in the history of the United Mine Workers. So, well, I guess for people out there, give us a little sample of what the Lattimer Massacre, a little synopsis of what it's about, and what you will be doing to commemorate it.
Well, what we will do, of course, will be the official commemoration, and I really have to single out and give extraordinary credit to the wonderful Hazleton Ministerium Association. These folks work tirelessly throughout the year to work on the next year's memorial service and service of healing and forgiveness that occurs there at the Lattimer Monument, right where Main Road and Quality Road split at the Y, where the monument occurs in Lattimer. That will occur exactly at 3:30. Why 3:30 on Sunday afternoon, the 10th of September? Because that's when our best estimate is that the rifle firing began that afternoon. It was all over in a half an hour by 4 o'clock. And the sheriff of Luzerne County and his guys had killed 19 miners. 16 of them were dead in the road right there. Interesting side point to that we know from reports of the Hazleton undertakers who received the bodies, of those 16, at least 13 had the bullet entries in their backs. They were running away from all that frightful stuff. And then at 4:15, we will encourage people to head down Quality Road to the Lattimer United Methodist Church that has been good enough to open its doors so that we can do the entirety of this old-time radio program.
What goes through your mind when you relive this each year?
I am always taken back by the fact that these men, and it was a column of somewhere between 450 to 600 marching miners. They had started south of Hazleton, came around Audenried and Cranberry and up through West Hazleton, etc. They were told not to go through the city of Hazleton, and they obeyed the law. They also carried 2 American flags at the vanguard of this whole line of men marching up to Lattimer to get support from miners at that location. These were Southern Europeans. They did not speak a lot of English, but they knew in this country everyone had the right to free speech, and they were carrying American flags to symbolize that they believed in America, this new land of opportunity. They had come here for that, okay? And to see them fired upon, et cetera, and cut down the way they were just to try to make a point was really a tough thing to see and go through. Lives were changed instantly that day.